Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Constable Michelle Smith, and I am part of the recruitment team, specifically down in West Region. And with me today, we've got a special guest. And go ahead and introduce yourself to the rest of the group.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jennifer Wilson. I'm a staff sergeant out of Essex County.
So today we're just going to have as an open, you can ask us anything, any questions you may have, helping you prepare to apply, or if you're asking specific questions about the OPP and why you should choose us. So, we'll open it up, and if anybody has any questions, if not, Staff Wilson, why don't you give us a little bit about your career and tell us, your kind of time with the OPP?
Sure. So I got on the job in 2005. I was initially posted to Wellington County. After that, I went to Lambton County, and I did various jobs there, including the crime unit, domestic violence investigator, abuse issues coordinator, as that's where I met Michelle, actually. From there, I was promoted to sergeant in 2016 in Lambton County. I've done various things throughout my career, and then promoted again in 2021 to Essex County. And since that time, I've been doing various temporary acting assignments. That's in a nutshell where my career has led me. One thing this is my second career, I will say. I was a teacher prior to becoming an OPP officer. I did that for about 6.5 years. I was a high school teacher. So for people who think you absolutely need like a law and security program, anything like that, you don't have to. We look at all different types of educational backgrounds, absolutely. I was also older when I got hired. I don't mind saying that I was 30, so age is not an issue either. What else can I tell you about that? I think that's it for right now, Michelle, if that's okay.
Yeah, no, that's great. So, it's nice to hear when we have people on or ask me anything about the variety that the OPP offers within your career. So many different paths. And like you, we kind of took a lot of the similar paths with our careers. For those who haven't seen any of my presentations, I began back in 1998. I did about 8 years on the road. Then I moved into community services, media relations, did that for 2 years. My big claim to fame there was the largest homicide at the time was the Bandito homicide, where I was the media relations officer for that. So that was pretty cool, doing interviews from all over the world. Then I went back on the road for a short stint as the second in command, running a platoon while the sergeant was off. And then I moved into the domestic violence position and did that for 2 years. And then got a position as detective, doing that for 8 years in Elgin County in the crime unit. And did most of my cases were the child-related ones. And after 8 years of doing that, it kind of took its toll. So I needed to take a step back. And that's personally why I moved into recruitment. And I'm loving recruitment now because it's that, it's the next generation of officers that are coming in to replace us soon. And everybody's excited to start this career. So it's been a wonderful last 3 years for me, that's for sure. So let's start looking at some of these questions. So someone says, I applied for the cadet program and didn't hear anything back. Any idea how long it will take? So I'll answer this one, staff. So in this particular case, we always say no news is good news. With our cadet program, we have opened it back up for an additional 2 weeks to have some more applications allowed in. Originally, it was focused on ages 18 to 25, and now we've opened it up so there is no age limit. And so we're getting all those applications in, screening them. So within, the next couple of weeks to a month, people will start getting those letters to advising them if they're moving to the next stage or not. Okay, what's the next one here? Someone's asking if we have any job opportunities from home. There isn't any as an officer, but I'm not sure, Steph, are you aware if there's any civilian positions that the OPP is hiring at home?
I don't believe so. I believe that all the civilian positions would be assigned to either detachment, a bureau, or a unit. Also, the Provincial Communications Center has civilian members. We also hire victim specialists as well, but those are all I think people should remember that all of the positions within the OPP are there to support the front line. And we need those people to help the front line do our job every day and do it to the best of our ability. And everybody is a team. So I think that that's one thing that you need to remember. We have detachment administrative clerks, regional administrative clerks. We have lots of different civilian jobs, even analyst jobs, communications operators, call takers. There's so many different civilian jobs in the OPP that, but yeah, most of them, I would say that they're not from home. They would be in support of the front line.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now someone has asked, how do we prepare for the test? Pardon me. So I'm not too sure which test you're referring to. Obviously, if you are successful to make it to the police college, there will be several tests that will be done, both written and practical testing, driving, all of that. If you're thinking of beforehand, the testing that we do have is your physical testing, which is your shuttle run. You need to reach a level of minimum 7 in order to move through our process at the application stage. If you're talking about psychological testing, again, that is completed after your interview stage. So, Harsh, if you can actually specify which test you're talking about, then maybe I might be able to answer that just a little bit more clear for you. Okay, and the next one, if you're already working in the OPS or corrections, do you lose your seniority if you get selected? So in this particular case, what happens is when you are hired, the OPS would be more related to your pension. As an officer, you wouldn't come in, let's say you're 15 years with the corrections. It may affect your retirement on the same pension, but in relation to seniority coming in with 15 years, it goes by your badge number. So your badge number would be a newer number, which would mean, for vacation picks and all of that, you would start at the lower level or not have the first priority pick if you would as a senior officer. Okay, so someone here, Mustafa, has a G2 and already enrolled in the constable selection process. Would that put my application on pause until I get my full G, or will I withdraw from the selection process as a whole? Now, do you know the answer to this one?
Well, I believe you need a full G license in order to be an officer. Yes.
Yeah. So, Mustafa, you're going to have to get your G. They will put your application on hold. You may receive a letter saying that you don't fit or meet the criteria. I would suggest getting that test completed so that you can have your full G, because in order to operate a police vehicle in the line of duty, you would have to have your full G license. Now, this is a good question. We get it quite often from Dominic asking, do I need to study police foundations to apply? If no, what are some qualifications a civilian would need towards becoming an OPP officer? So great question. As Steph Wilson said, you do not need to have a policing background, security background, or even with your education. What we're looking for are transferable skills. And you can obtain those skills in a variety of employment and in a variety of educational background. Now, in order to apply to the OPP, you do have to have your grade 12 or an equivalency. At this particular time, we do not require a post-secondary education. However, a post-secondary education will make you a bit of a stronger candidate in many ways. One, it'll give you that little bit of more life experience, putting together documents, writing assignments, things like that. But, and preparing you and giving you a little bit more when you are ready to apply to us, but it isn't necessary. Now, pick a program that you're interested in. We have a lot of people that will go into a program of trades, for example. And there are some, if not a lot, of trades that we can actually use within the OPP in one of our, over 100 specialty units. So, pick something that you're interested, something that you're going to enjoy, and something that's going to, show your good grades and your ability to learn. And then that's what we're going to be more concerned about, not the actual program that you took. Okay, so We have,
Michelle, could I just add on to
mhm,
that? Sorry for the interruption. Yeah, I think especially with the trades, it's all good stuff. I mean, if you think about it, we police Ontario's highways. We work in partnership with the MTO for commercial motor vehicles. So people who are mechanics and have that background, man, like that would help us out huge.
mhm,
In fact, like me, I was a teacher before, and people often ask me, "Wow, those are totally separate." Um, Careers. And I said, well, no, not really, because in teaching, you're kind of a police officer there. If things are going on, you have to address different things. You have to de-escalate situations. You wear a social worker hat. You wear a mental health worker hat. There's lots of different things that you probably do in your careers or in your jobs that do have transferable skills. So don't think that, oh my goodness, there's nothing that I have that would be transferable, because there really is. You just have to think about it and think about what police officers do on a given day. And I'm sure that within whatever career that you have at this time or whatever job you have at this time, there's probably some transferable
mhm.
skills. So I just wanted to back you up on that, Michelle.
No, that's all great information. Now we have a message here. Someone 11 months ago has moved to Canada as a permanent resident. Welcome to Canada. And they are interested in joining the police force, and they're wondering if they're eligible. So, as long as you are a permanent resident or have your Canadian status, you may apply to the Ontario Provincial Police. If you are still working towards your status, permanent status, once you have that, that is when you would be able to apply to us. Now, next question. OPP is my number one choice. This is Nada. Great choice. We are the number one police service, but of course, we're going to be a little bit biased. And what makes an ideal candidate? Now, one thing I will suggest for this to make an ideal candidate, a lot of it is going to be your own personal self assessment. And the easiest way to do that is to take a look at our website, opp.ca/careers. And on there, you will find our assessment wheel. And those are the 10 areas of assessment that we evaluate you throughout the process of our application. And when you look at each of the 10 components, what we suggest is kind of score yourself between a 1 and a 10. And a 10 being you can't be any more competitive if you tried, and 1, you haven't done very much in that particular category. And when you feel that you're at the point where you are at your competitive best in all 10 categories, that is when you want to apply. Those categories are going to cover your motivation. Why do you want to be a police officer? They're going to cover your fitness levels, making sure you're able to meet the minimum standards. Your education, what level of education did you achieve, and how are your school grades? We're going to talk about your current and past employment, your driver's record, your special skills or bonus points, things that you've done to make you even more competitive. So your communication skills, all of these things are things that we evaluate you right from the get-go. And you will find out more about these specific qualifications at a lot of our information sessions, where we kind of go over in a little bit more detail and provide you more of that information to help you prepare for that. We've got a question here in relation to the OACP certificate. The OPP does not require the OACP certificate in order to apply to our service. If you have it, it certainly will help with some of the processes that we do have, the hearing, the medical, that type of thing, some of the testing that's been completed. But it is not necessary to have that qualification or certification in order to apply to our service. So if you haven't had it, you've had it in the past, you can certainly include your previous OACP certificate testing levels that you achieved. But and if you have a current one, of course, most certainly add that as well. So it would be going in there as a special skill, because it is additional above and beyond what our bare minimum requirements are in order to apply. Now, Shane says he didn't apply to the OPP because of where you live. Well, if you live anywhere in the province of Ontario, you've got an OPP station, a hop, skip, and a jump away from you. We cover the entire province, all four corners of the province. And there's most likely an OPP detachment close to you. If you're living outside of the outside of the province, you can even apply. We have applicants that are applying from all over the world, in fact, to our police service. So uh, Shane, if maybe if you have the opportunity to add another message of specifically why you couldn't. But it also brings up another point that I want to make about that some people may have a misconception of what OPP policing is like compared to municipal police service or federal. Now, with OPP, it's going to be a lot different in the fact that we're not just traffic. Some people think that, oh, it's the OPP, they only cover the highways. That is not the case. We do have specific units that are attached to our highways that are highway safety divisions. And we do have some detachments that border on the highways that will do traffic. But all of our detachments have a general policing duties that we are all responsible for. So those are all the regular investigations that you're dealing with, major crimes, break and enters, impaired driving, domestic violence, assaults, anything you can think of. Our officers on the road are doing them all. And the one thing that I can say about the OPP that kind of makes us unique, if you're the type of person who likes to do your own investigation, you like to get it from the beginning, solve that problem, and follow it all the way through, then the OPP is for you, because that's how it is with us. When you join us, when you are assigned a call, and if it ends up being charges, those are your charges to continue with your investigation. If it requires a specialized unit, then obviously the specialized unit will take over. But in most cases, we try and keep our officers involved at all levels, because one, it makes our officers more trained and able to speak to different cases, but they're still part of it. And you're still, you're the one who's going to be going to court, talking to our victims, all of that. Where it sometimes differs in some of our municipal police services, where they may just arrest somebody or deal with somebody and move on to the next call, and a specialized unit would take over that specific call. Okay, what do we have here?
Michelle Shane wrote back saying that he's in Chatham, and I can say that there is an OPP detachment in Chatham. There's an OPP detachment in Elgin, St. Thomas area, and there's an OPP detachment, well, I think 5 reporting locations in where I'm from in Essex County.
So and Shane, Middlesex as well. Yeah.
And Lambton. Yep. So there's lots of places around you, Shane.
Yeah. And Shane, if Chatham currently right now, it is a high traffic detachment because they are right on the 401 series. But we have recently became a sister detachment with Elgin. So Elgin and Chatham are now detachments placed together. And so what happens is, if you're a new recruit, when you're coming in, you're brought over to Elgin. And the reasoning for that is to give you more of those general duties to get you well prepared to go back to Chatham as your home detachment. So yes, there are a lot of opportunities in the Chatham area and specifically in West Region. So somebody says, is OPP currently hiring in the Durham region or North Bay? Absolutely. We are hiring across the province. We are currently trying to fill, well, the numbers are going up. So we were trying to fill 135 seats at the Ontario Police College 3 times a year. We just received notice that the Police College will be now going up to 4 times a year. And the OPP is striving to continue to meet our numbers of 135 recruits in each of those 4 intakes. And those numbers are probably going to continue for at least the next 5 years. So now is the time. It doesn't matter where you are in the province. You have your choice of 6 detachments you can pick. And we have a very high success rate of getting one of your top 6 positions. And if we can't, we try and see what's the next closest detachment for you. Okay, someone here. I'm a PR, I assume permanent resident. I have 1 more year left to become a citizen. I have a bachelor's degree in accounting and finance. I would like, you've got your permanent resident status, so you are eligible to apply to us. You've obviously, as you said, had your post-secondary education. Take a look at our assessment wheel. Take a look at our minimum requirements. And if you meet those requirements and find that you see yourself as a competitor, then absolutely get your application in. And, your best bet is to attend one of our information sessions that we are holding all across the province. Just for a few dates for everybody, August 30th is the next information session, and that's for civilian positions for our communication center in North Bay. September 1st, we have a virtual constable information session that you can log in and watch from wherever you live. September 6th, there is a constable information session in North Bay. September 12th, we'll have another Ask Me Anything session. In September the 14th, Smith Falls will be holding a constable information session. And on the 18th of September in Paris, so down here in West Region, we'll be holding a constable information. And last I'm aware, my partner and I will be conducting one on the 26th of September. That will be conducted here at West Region headquarters, and that specific one is going to be a little bit different. So the one that we're going to be holding here is going to be one more of a mentoring session. So it's for people that have already attended our information sessions, been prepared, and they're at that point where they think they're ready to put their application in. They come, they meet with us. It's a smaller group. We go over more detailed with your 10 areas of assessment, and we have you do some self-assessment as well, and then give you some tips and advice on how to prepare, not only for your application, but to help you prepare for the other stages of the testing and the process. So if you're in the West Region area and able to attend, please sign up. Or if you're in any of our other areas, please sign up for any of our information sessions. Or if you're unavailable, we do record them and you're able to come back and watch them at a later time as well. Okay, wondering how many officers the OPP are looking to hire for the December class. So as I said, we're looking to fill 135 seats, and that's going to continue as we require those numbers. Okay, here we have, I'm moving in Ontario from Alberta in 2 months. I would like to start my application right now as I respond already to fitness requirements. Oops, somebody had a message there. Okay, do you have to do a polygraph test? Is the rate of successful application good, or is it really hard? That's a great question. Staff, how would you like to answer this one?
If you're moving to Ontario, I would absolutely start my application process now. Fitness requirements, if you have the fitness requirements, then great. But I would continue working on your fitness requirements, because the fitness requirements don't let up once you get hired on. You are still required to keep up your fitness when you're going into OPC. And when you're at OPC, you're going to, although the OPP doesn't have the prep test as a prerequisite for applying, you do have to pass the prep as part of the OPC training. So I would suggest you train for the prep and make sure that you are able to do that. Our standard is the fit pin. You can find the fit pin at opp.ca, and it tells you everything for what you need to do. Polygraph test. No, we don't have to pass a polygraph test at all. Rate of successful application is good. I can't answer that because I'm not a recruiter. I'm actually a recruitment ambassador. So I'm kind of like a junior member of the uniform recruitment, I guess, Michelle. I try and help out where I can, and I've been trained to give some insight into the process. But yeah, if you are interested in applying to the OPP, we've had numerous hires who are out of province and they move to the province to get a job with us.
Absolutely. And our current process right now for our interviews is virtual. So if you're hesitant putting it in because you're out of province, thinking there may be a cost associated with having to travel back and forth to Ontario for testing, that isn't necessary because we do conduct it virtually over the internet. Now, being successful with us, yes, it is competitive. We take the top candidates. We hold our standards at a very high level, and we want the best officers working for the OPP. But the best way to do that is everybody brings something unique. Take a look, as I said earlier, at our levels of assessment, all 10 areas, and determine yourself if you're competitive enough. Think about what you think of a vision of a police officer. Do you fit that same kind of vision of what you think a good officer would be? And that's how you're going to determine. So your best bet, as I said, take a look at your assessment, attend an information session, and you're going to get a lot of information from that that's going to help you determine what areas you need to work on, or determine if you're ready to get your application in right away. Now, Adam has asked, do applicants have to be ready to relocate, or does recruitment take their location into account? So, Adam, what happens is you will be provided the opportunity to pick 6 detachments of your choice. And you're not locked into those 6. While you're in our process, you can certainly change your order or change the 6 detachments you have selected. There are some times where you may have selected 6 detachments where at that particular time there may not be a specific position available for a recruit. That is when we will take a look at outside of your 6, is there anything closer? Or we'll offer you, there might be a detachment. Last year we wanted to fill Huron County. So it was one of those detachment areas where we needed to bring up our provincial numbers. And so we would offer candidates, would you consider going to Huron County? It isn't on one of your top 6. And a lot of our candidates did actually step up and say, yeah, sure, why not? It's a different area. But if there are some sort of special considerations, or whether it's you have elderly family to take care of, you have children that are in specialized programs or require medical treatments, anything like that that's considered a special consideration, we do take into account that. We don't want to put people where they don't want to be, because they're not going to be happy. We want you to go where you'll be happy. And I think our statistics were something like 84.7% success rate of getting one of your top 6. So that's pretty good statistics that we can have, and we do work hard. Our administrative staff work very hard on putting people where they want to be and where they need to be. So Harsh has responded, the aptitude test. So with us, our aptitude test, if I'm understanding your question here, is going to be the Sigma testing. So Sigma testing is your basic grammar, spelling, problem solving, and math test. It's a 35-minute time test that you'll have to conduct. And pass or fail, we just want to make sure that you read, write, and understand the English language and basic problem solving skills, especially for those people who've been out of school for a while. But everybody has to complete this test, and it is part of our psychological testing component. Someone says, did I say that the cadet program is open again? It is, and it's going to be open for just 2 weeks to allow for anyone else to put in their applications. What is the OPP policy on tattoos? Well, Staff Sergeant, this is a great one for you.
Well, the OPP policy on tattoos has changed since I came on the job. That was in 2005. Michelle, you were on about 7 years before me. Tattoos are fine. However, I don't believe we're hiring anybody who has tattoos on their face. But Michelle, you might be able to clarify that one for me. So I don't think we're hiring anybody with like tattoos on their actual face. And I think that the tattoos would have to be things that don't promote anything against the Human Rights Code. Would that be an appropriate way to describe it?
Absolutely. Yeah. As long as it doesn't offend or put negative on anyone else, tattoos are acceptable. But yes, we still want to look professional. But we are seeing a lot more candidates and officers that are, on the job getting more tattoos. Sometimes, I can say personally, I do have tattoos. And sometimes it actually kind of helps you on the road. People starts up conversations with you that they normally wouldn't because they see your tattoos, they like them. Kind of makes you look that, you're human too, just like everybody else. We're not robots. We're out there just like you. So there's no concerns as long as there's nothing offensive or would be considered inappropriate. What external site does the OPP use to post available positions? Well, your best bet is to get just straight to the opp.ca/careers. It will give you all the links to all our positions, both civilian and officer, as well as auxiliary unit, special constable, anything you can think of as for an employment within the OPP. You would just go to the particular section that would fit the job that you're looking for, whether it's civilian or constable, special cadet or auxiliary. And in there, you will find the requirements and how to apply and the application itself. So take a look at the website and you will certainly find all the information you're looking for. So we've got someone here, 36 last year, and I'm working on my fitness. Do you hire people from my age or not? Absolutely. There is no age limit as long as you are 18 years of age and meet all the rest of the requirements. Age is just a number. when we are interviewing you and preparing your documents, we don't even look at your age. It's your name and stuff like that that we're interested in, because it comes in twofold. Just somebody at 36 could be in a lot better shape than someone who's 26 or 16. Someone at 36 brings life experience, they bring job experience, maybe some specialized training, things like that. So absolutely, their age is just a number. If you can meet our criteria, and your question more specifically in the fitness level, there's, it's geared to that anybody can do it. You just have to work at it and train. It's not something you can do overnight. If you're thinking about a career in policing, your training should already have begun so that you are ready once you're already in the process.
Michelle, I believe that in my recruit class, we had a gentleman who was 50.
I had a 53-year-old, a retired RCMP officer. He couldn't retire after 25 years. He had 6 kids under 19, and his wife didn't work, so he had to come back to policing. So age is just a number. Yeah. Evan asks, how quick does someone hear back from the OPP after sending their application to the constable for a constable? I'll answer this one. So what happens is when you put your application in, you will be put into a queue. Then they take a look at it, gather the information, and you receive notification to submit your shuttle run video. After you have submitted your shuttle run video and you have achieved a level 7, your file now moves into a pre-screening stage. So if there's no issues with your file and you get your video submitted right away, most of our candidates are hearing, if they're successful, moving to the interview stage within a couple weeks, because we are very streamlined, and within the unit, we have our background investigators, all our recruiters that are looking at and filing all the information from those applications. And we work very hard on moving them seamlessly through our process to try and get people ready for the next intake. So we're always working ahead for the intakes that are coming up. So, the key thing is to put it in when you are at your absolute competitive best. Do I have more chance into policing after my career in corrections? Do you want to answer this one, or would you like me to?
I think you should answer that one.
So with corrections, absolutely, you're going to bring transferable skills to a career of policing. You're going to have specialized training, de-escalation skills. You've seen and done a lot of calls that you would be able to speak to, but it doesn't necessarily make you a stronger candidate. We look at all 10 areas, and that specific one would be your employment and perhaps your special skills, but all the other skills, make sure that you are competitive in them as well. Your motivation, why do you want to be a police officer? Your driving record, your education background, your communication skills, all of those things are going to come into fact of what matters. But yes, most certainly in corrections, it does give you kind of a leg up of experiences that you may have that someone who hasn't been in that line of career wouldn't have those same experiences. Regular therapist sessions should be mandatory for officers. Would you like to answer this one?
Sure, I can talk about this one. We are very fortunate in the OPP to have unlimited access for mental health practitioners. So if officers choose to go and see a mental health practitioner or clinician, we have unlimited benefits for that. So yes, we would encourage anybody, if people feel that they need to talk to somebody about their experiences,
Yep.
then I would encourage that. But yes, we do have, that is a benefit of being with the OPP.
Yeah. And on top of that, we do have OPP psychologists that if there are major events that have occurred that may have caused trauma towards the officers as well as a secondary trauma, we do debrief and we do offer those services, as well as have our employee assistant program. We have officers that are specifically trained as well within the OPP as a peer support, so that when an officer does have maybe a stressful or a hard type call that they've responded to. We have peers that will reach out and touch base with us to make sure that we're okay, offer any assistance, any connections that need to be made for services, anything like that. So, it's a great question. I can tell you from my own personal experience that I personally had to go off with secondary trauma from 8 years of dealing with child related offenses. Kind of took its toll, as I said earlier, and I hadn't really managed my stress properly. And that's one thing that is really important, is having your stress management in place prior to a career with policing. And even having a therapist to know your baseline prior to becoming a police officer. This career will inevitably change you. It's going to open your eyes to the real world. You're going to see a lot of negative aspects and a lot of positive, but it'll change who you are. And sometimes if you don't understand or look at changes that you may be seeing, or your family may be noticing some changes, a therapist will certainly know what your baseline is, what your quote unquote normal self is, and be able to pick up on those triggers a little bit sooner. Now, for me personally, when I had my incident, I had full support from the OPP, which was wonderful. I found myself a wonderful therapist who got me back and retrained my brain on how to compartmentalize everything. And when I came back again, the OPP was supportive and put me in a role. I got to move into recruitment when I determined that I didn't want to be as a detective anymore at that point in time. So it is an important aspect, but you also have to take care of yourself, and you have to identify some stress management techniques. And you'll notice that we ask what your stress management is on your application in your fitness section. So be sure to fill those out and really think about, how do you deal with your stress? Because there'll be days where you might just be pulling over, lots of cars, a regular day, nothing too traumatic. And the next day you may be going call to call. There may be several deaths. There may be a fire. There could be a robbery. You never know what kind of scene you're going to walk into. And sometimes, your mind isn't always prepared for what you're about to see, but having a good stress management, a good support system is what is going to make you successful in a career as a police officer, whether it's with us or any police service. Okay, so Justine has asked about the OACP and if there's a pool for current or former CAF members. So CAF, for those who don't know, is our Canadian Armed Forces. So the OPP does not require the OACP certificate. It's kind of a bonus if you have it. It does have some of the testing completed, your medical, that type of stuff. And for our CAF members, we don't have a specific pool for members. You are like everybody else who applies to us. However, again, like our corrections question, you do bring a lot of transferable skills. Policing is a paramilitary type base. Tier system. So we find that a lot of our military members are able to transition easily into a policing career because they're used to that rank and file. They're used to following orders and directions. And they've had a lot of the similar training and things like that, as including their stress management and de-escalation skills and all of that. But we do understand that our CAF members do need a little bit more time sometimes to get out of the military. And the one thing that we do is, if we do have our military members, we try to identify them early in the process so that we can give them enough notification so they can notify the military that they will be leaving, because I believe in most cases it's about a 6 months time frame that they need in order to get a release from the military. So we do work with you on that to get you released, but it is not a separate pool by any means. Will completing the Be the Bridge challenge enhance my competitiveness, or would a certificate in the Indigenous awareness from CPKN be good enough alternative? What do you think, staff?
I would highly suggest doing the Bridge the Challenge. I think that's an important one to have. There's lots of good resources that the OPP can provide for you to enhance your competitiveness and enhance your knowledge. The CPKN is also very good. I wouldn't necessarily say that it would be an alternative to Bridge the Challenge. There's lots of other courses that you can take as well. Coursera has, not that I'm trying to speak for anyone website or not. I just have experience with Coursera. It has some free courses. I took one through the University of Alberta for Indigenous awareness, and it was an amazing course. I would highly suggest you looking at any of those extra courses to enhance your knowledge, skills, and abilities, not just with Indigenous awareness, but also with other cultural awareness. There's lots of other things out there that you can learn on, learn about. It just doesn't end. Like, honestly, these courses are endless, and you could get so much from this, and all of those things will bring something to the table for us.
Absolutely. Now, Jonathan says that he is a French police officer and wondering if it's possible to come over to Ontario. Now, it is possible to come to Ontario. However, we would not recognize it as a police officer. You would apply as a new recruit. The reasoning being that you were not trained at the Ontario Police College. So any officer who's not trained within the province of Ontario would have to apply as a recruit. Our RCMP officers, they can apply, but they do have to do the OPC, or the Ontario Police College equivalency exam, because they are obviously trained at depot and not at the police college. So those are the differences. If you're trained as a police officer in Canada, but outside, you would have to go through the entire process. Obviously, a lot of differences with the laws and things like that, that you would need the proper training, and as well the OPP specific training that you would also achieve and obtain at the academy after you've graduated from the Ontario Police College.
Yeah, we've had a lot of officers come over from the UK as well. I know that we've had some in various detachments that I've been at.
Yep. So someone has applied for the cadet program with all the required documents, but recently got their evaluation for their high school. Can I send that evaluation document to the same email where I sent my cadet document? So you can send, there is an email. It's probably within your documentation that you received from us to tell you there is an actual update email address, and I don't have it memorized. But you can take a look at our website. All our links are in there. But yes, you can certainly send your evaluation in after, or if you'd like, if you've already been assigned your number, you can see your ID number when you are given your person who's going to be interviewing you. If you're successful, then you can certainly submit it. Or usually what happens is when we're going through the pre-screening and the application and we see any documentation that may be missing, an officer will reach out to you via email to advise you that we're missing something and give you that opportunity to email directly to them. Oh, we got a long one here from Cheyenne. They completed an application near the end of July. They had an unexpected surgery take place and unable to complete the shuttle run until at least the middle of September. Waiting to be able to complete the fitness logs before submitting. Absolutely. When I'm fully active, which again will be shortly. Question is, do you have any recommendations to put themselves out there? Is there anything I can do to connect with the OPP to display I intend on applying? I want to connect with the OPP to show my interest as soon as possible, but unfortunately I'm facing fitness log setback with my recovery time. So the best thing to do, is if you can't focus on that one area of assessment out of the 10, then focus on the other 9. Get yourself healed. We don't want you to be injured. We're going to be doing a lot of hiring over the next couple of years. So making sure that you're healthy, because if your injury isn't fully, completely healed, you could, reactivate it while you're at the police college, have to take a leave, then go back to the police college. So it's best to wait till you are completely healed. And at that point in time, currently you should be focusing on the other areas. To get your name out there, well, that's, there's different opportunities. You have the opportunity to attend our information sessions. You're now partaking in our Ask Me Anything. Speak with officers in your area. Go to your local detachments if you're thinking about a career with OPP and ask to speak with someone. A lot of our detachments have a recruitment ambassador like Staff Wilson that can talk to you about the process, give you some information, and specifically talk to you about the specific detachments that you're thinking of. Because having an RA that's right in that detachment, they're going to know best that specific area. If someone were to ask me, what's it like in Waterloo region, in Wellington County, I would have no idea. I've never worked there. and an officer who has or is currently working is the one who's going to be able to give you the best information that will help you decide which detachment you want and what specific skills. I know from Essex, from doing a lot of recruitment files, that I know you guys really need people that speak Spanish. A lot of language skills are required in that particular area. So having those conversations locally with your OPP will help you also determine if there's anything that you can bring that's going to make you a stronger candidate than perhaps somebody else who's applying. Okay, what do we got here? How often do you release project management positions, and do you need to have worked within the OPP to get an interview? Uh, so Delphine, I'm not quite sure what you're looking for a project management position, but if you're thinking for a civilian side, if you take a look at our opp.ca/careers and go to the civilian section, it will take you to a link where we'll show different job opportunities that you have within the entire province of Ontario at any of our detachments or headquarters. Are there any programs that you're aware of that allow UK police officers to transfer to Canadian forces? With the OPP, no. You would have to be trained and taught at the Ontario Police College in Ontario prior to becoming a full-fledged officer, but you're hired prior to going to the police college. And for those who aren't aware, Ontario Police College is now free. Our government has taken on those fees. So it was close to $16,000 and was talks of going up to close to almost $20,000. And now they have taken away those fees, which is covered, which is kind of a nice thing because that did kind of prevent some people not having that kind of extra cash flow in order to attend for the police college. For the pin on the fitness log, there's only push-up, flexion, core, endurance 2.4. On the internet, we can find a scale for the result, and I saw a VO2 max. So yes, for us, we do the fitness pin, the 4 components: your push-ups, your flexion, which is how far can you reach past your toes, your core, which is your plank position, holding it for 3 minutes, and then your 2.4 kilometer run, which again, all your training running and stuff should be done outdoors. We don't chase people very often indoors. And, I'm sure there's been a lot of more, we're running out of time here, but there have been a lot of specifics about our fitness stuff, but you can also look on our websites, Facebook, all of our LinkedIn, and you will see specific videos that are related to our fitness requirements, both the prep and the fitness pin and your fitness logs about what you should be doing prior to applying to us. Are you hiring administrative jobs? Absolutely. We're hiring across the board. It doesn't matter if it's a civilian, officer, special constable, or an auxiliary member. We are hiring across. We are a very large police service and we have movement. What steps should be taken when applying as a forensic officer or civilian? Well, to be a civilian, again, that would be applying through our civilian portal. As an officer, you wouldn't start out as a forensics officer. You would have to get to your first class status first, which from attending the police college and onwards is about 3.5 years to get to your first class. Once you're a first class, you can start to look at specialized units within the OPP that you apply to and compete for. And one of those positions would be in our forensics or identification unit. And we also have our forensics unit that is an Aurelia. So that would be something that is down the line of your career after you've put that time on the road. And don't be quick to jump off the road. The road is where you're going to gain the most knowledge and the most skills and essentially have the most fun. It's that family dynamic that you have with your platoon members. It's the experiences you're going to share and keep with you for the rest of your career. Whenever we do the old stories of talking about way back in the days of things that we did, it always comes back to the road. That's where a lot of the stories come from, and the happy memories and things that we bring. So, as much as people are always focusing on what's next in their career, take the time to develop your skills, develop all the training, learn from your other officers, and then start moving. And then you're going to share your knowledge with the younger officers as well that are moving their way up. Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to do one more question here. What do we got? We've had a few in here about age. Again, if you just logged in, there is no age limit. You do have to be 18, but age is just a number. We just want you to be competitive. And if you can pass all of our fitness, physical testing, as well as the academic, that's all that matters. What do we got here? Okay, my last one here is going to be, I'm going into grade 11 and I want to be a police officer when I'm older. Can you give me any tips to become an officer? Okay, I'll give you a few tips and then I'll have Staff Wilson give you a few tips. And remember, everybody, that we do have our Ask Me Anything every Tuesday, unless stuff comes up and we can't have it. But we do have our previous ones on there. We are very integrated into our media. Take a look at all our posts. Take a look at YouTube videos. We are out there pumping the information out. We have all the questions answered on our website as well. Now, for grade 11, I'm so happy to hear that you are looking to look at your future and already starting to prepare. That's wonderful. So what things you need to prepare is looking at what's your future education are you thinking of? What kind of jobs are you currently working? Are you physically active? Are you involved in your community? Community service is huge because that is something as an officer we do every single day. We put on the uniform, we put others before ourselves, and we want to make sure that you have that established within you innately, that you want to help people. That's what we do. So those are things that you can start to build upon, making sure the people you hang out with are the proper people. You're making good life choices in relation to your alcohol or cannabis consumption. You lead a positive lifestyle. Those are the things you focus on now. And because you're in grade 11, when we're looking at your schooling grades, grade 12, that's the year we're going to look at. So you're going into grade 12 next year, making sure that those grades are nice and high and you're showing that dedication to your education. When you're at a college or university program, think about having a positive impact on your professors or instructors because they are great reference letters. In most cases at our police foundation programs and such, they are retired officers. So to have a reference letter from someone like that certainly will help because they know what we're looking for. They've done the career. And if you get, noticed by your teachers, your community members, things like that, those are all the things that you should be completing. So unfortunately, everyone, we're at the tail end here. We've gotten to a point where we're running out of time. I want to thank everyone. I am truly sorry if we didn't get to your question. Please log in and ask your questions again. Also, we do have email that if you have specific questions that you want to ask, you can certainly reach out to the OPP Uniform Recruitment Unit. And members like myself will answer those emails and get you the information as best we can. So I just want to thank everybody. Thank you, Staff Wilson, for joining me today. It was a pleasure to see you again. And everybody take care and stay safe.